my tea.
You're live.
Am I?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, guys.
You're live.
Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Yeah, you watched me bop. I'm sorry. I'm cold. I'm doing whatever I can to stay warm today. It's not that cold outside, but it is damp. We're expecting some rain this afternoon. So we had a snowstorm the end of the week or midweek, and
Now it's been rain.
now it's rain, and it's just ew. I hate rain in the spring. It's one of my least favorite times of year. I like the flowers, like in May and June. I like that. I just don't like this. I don't do rain. I hope everybody had a great week. Mine has been insanely busy, thanks to you guys. We had a shipment of 104 bunnies, 144 bunnies. And I think I shipped 160 bunnies because I still had like another 48 or something. So it's been ridiculous. So we're still packing and shipping bunny kits like crazy. And of course, everybody's been working this week. So I've been alone here in the studio. So please bear with me. I've been packing like a mad woman. And then, of course, we had a whole bunch of shipping issues. Canada Post's shipping software wasn't functioning the way it was supposed to. UPS was backlogged due to the storms in the area. And then FedEx was backlogged. It's been a fun week. But I have shipped 144 bunnies. Bunnies galore, and the little buggers are multiplying.
That's what bunnies do.
It's what bunnies do, yes. And unbelievable how many
They're
bunnies.
efficient at it.
Yes, they are highly efficient. Yes. So I've been very grateful this week. I know it's a first world problem, believe me, but I do appreciate you very much because I had so much fun creating that bunny, and I'm so glad that you guys like it too, because it's going to be a lot of fun. So you're also going to be pretty excited because remember we had a conversation, was it last week or the week before that we
I think
talked?
it was the week before.
The week before. We were talking about the cattle tag projects, and you guys had some amazing ideas. And then we got talking about doing some woodland creatures on a different surface as well. So I took a bunch of your ideas. I sat down with my pal Karen at Southern Ridge Trading, and guess what? Lo and behold, we have new cattle tags. I'm so excited. So I got the first two cattle tags. She's finishing off the other two as we speak. So we have a chicken, not a rooster, a chicken. That one should be here soon. And what's the other one? A cat.
Meow,
Cat.
meow.
We have a cat. And somebody had made the suggestion that we needed a Highland cow. We have a Highland cow. So I'm really excited about this. So here is the shapes. I haven't had time to paint them. I've been packing bunnies. So we have the Highland cow and the cattle tag. And this one I just love. This one I just love, so much so that I actually sat down this morning and designed the pattern for this one. This is the dog. I love this one. It's shaped like a border collie, so we have that one. And then we did Karen is amazing. The girl is just, whatever I come up with, she just runs with it. So I got this. We've got a raccoon. We have a fox. We have a deer, which I really like the idea of. And then a bear.
A burr.
A bear. So we have those. And then I love the surface that I told her vaguely what I wanted, and she always manages to come up with something. So we have this great surface. So I'm really excited about this, and I have oodles of ideas for these ones. So we're going to be working on that this week. The Border Collie is already designed. It's ready to go to my painting table, so I can sit down and paint that. Hopefully get it done this week because I'm rather excited about it. So that is, just so you guys know that I do actually listen when you guys have great ideas. And you guys have a lot of great ideas. The other thing, today we're painting the...
Was there a kitty cat?
There is a kitty cat, yes. Today we're painting the watered color crocus. It's the mate to the daffodils that we did last weekend. And I've had a number of people asking about the butterflies. Those blessed things have been flying out of here this week, the wooden butterflies. So I wanted to point out something really quick. If you can't find the wooden butterflies, you got to go check out Sandy McTeer's website. She's got these fabulous chipboard butterflies. They're beautiful, gorgeous, and they're just the right size. So that's what I'm going to be using today. Now, I know I spoke to Sandy the other day. She's got tons of these on her website right now. So if you're looking for the butterfly appliques, go and check out Sandy's website at sandymcteerdesigns.com.
Oh,
Wow.
we have a new viewer
We do? A new
from Sri Lanka.
Wow.
Oh,
I bet it's warm there.
yeah.
I'd like to be warm.
Sunny Sri Lanka.
I'd like to be warm. I'm not warm today. We do have a shout out this week.
Ayubwan? I think that's how you say it.
Okay.
Ayubwan. It's AAYUBOWAN.
Okay.
It means hello.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of the language, but it's the language in Sri Lanka.
Wow. In Sri Lankan, I would imagine.
I don't think it's Sri Lankan.
I don't know. It's just, but hello and welcome. I'm glad you joined us. What was I saying? Oh, we have a shout out this week. I'm brain dead today. Shout out this week. We have some really nice giveaways this week. And a little unusual, our giveaways this week are all stencils. We have some really nice packages in there with about $35 worth of stencils in each of those packages. And they're courtesy of M Square, which is Sandy McTeer and myself, TracyMoreau.net, and countrybearwood.com. They are based in Sherbrooke, Quebec. I had a wonderful package from them this week with a whole bunch of goodies in it for giveaways. They have some really great deals on their website this week. And one of those deals is on all of their plaid stencils. So go and check it out because in some cases they're up to 70% off. They've got some really great deals. So go and check them out at countrybearwood.com. I think Renee put the website in the description underneath the video.
Yes.
So go and check them out. If you get there and discover that it's all in French, there's a little button right at the top of the page. Just click it. It'll give you a full English version of the website. And pricing is all in Canadian dollars. They ship all over the place. The service is fantastic. I've known Mario and Ghislaine for a very great many years. So show them some love. Pop over to their website at countrybear-wood.com. And go check it out. They're a Decoupage distributor, a Dynasty brush distributor, and they have oodles of other products like Joe Sonia and plaid products and whatnot. It is a great resource for Canadians in particular, but for everybody. So go and check it out. I love their website. Lots of fun laser cut stuff too. They do great things.
And Tombow.
And Tombow, yes. They also carry Tombow.
Yeah, I see the note.
Yep. They're great. Mario and Ghislaine are just awesome people. So now you know what the giveaways are too. It's kind of killed two birds with one stone. We also, for next Saturday, we're doing an Easter special for next Saturday. So we're going to be painting the bunny. You can see the little buggers are breeding over my shoulder here. I've got bunnies all over the place. And it's such a fun project. It's super simple. It's not rocket science, believe you me. You're going to have fun. We're going to have a whole bunch of laughs, and we have some really great giveaways. We have 8 of them. So, and they include some beautiful brushes, Dynasty Faux Squirrel from Dynasty Brush. We have some Tombow stuff to give away. We have some Stampenda stuff to give away. We've got all kinds of goodies in there. So we've got a bunch of really nice giveaways for next Saturday. And what else? What else? Have I forgotten anything? Probably. Because that's how my brain works. So we're going to get started on this fun piece. We're going to be doing watered color crocus. Are you ready to get started? I am. Yeah, I am.
Okay. I pressed the button.
You press the button? Okay. Helps if you actually have the piece sitting there. I'm just So this is the piece we're working on today. I think this one is just fun.
You can bring it down a little bit.
A little down. There we go.
There you go.
I think this one is just fun. It's not a difficult piece to paint. As last Saturday we did the daffodils, and they are very pretty. They're fun. I saw some of the photos people were posting on Facebook and on Instagram, and they just looked amazing. They did such a great job on them. So this is the one that we're going to be doing today. This one is super simple. I love that the colors are light. It's a very basic design. The fun part is just being loose and having a little bit of fun with some thinned acrylic paint. Now, if you want to really have fun with this, liquid acrylic watercolor, P.H. Martin inks work wonderful for this. The Dynasty Decoupage fluid acrylics work wonderful for this. But even just your basic Americanas, you can pick and choose which colors you want to use. I've kept this simple and very traditional, went with pinks and purples just for the sake of simplicity. But you could have a lot of fun with this. You could change it up and do it purples and yellows. You could do it in brighter pinks and reds and whatnot. Just use your imagination and your own personal taste you can add to this. Just because you change the colors doesn't mean the technique changes. So we're going to have a little bit of fun with this. So
Teresa Casper had to kick off the glitter fun for today.
Did she? What did she?
$20.
Thank you, Derry. So
she wants to see the glitter beard as much as you guys do.
I want to see the glitter beard. Are you kidding? I'm getting the video camera ready. And I'm going to take out a billboard, photos. We're going to put it in our ads. We're going to do it everywhere.
Glitter beard.
Yep. You're going to go on the new product labels. That's yeah, glitter boy. That's what we'll call you.
New Galaxy Glitter.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
Do you have an idea?
I have to call Tom.
Oh God. He's got a new line for Decoupage.
I got a new product for Decoupage. It's called Beard Glitter. Something that sticks.
Forever.
Forever. So this is the surface I'm working on. This one is a 8x8 artist panel. I like to keep things simple. So this is what we're working with. These ones, believe it or not, I got at the dollar store. Finding the smaller cradled panels lately in the art stores has been a little problematic. Fortunately for me, we have a couple of dollar stores very close to the house, and these ones were inexpensive. The quality is actually not bad at all, considering. So to prep them, I put a coat of gesso on, give it a light sanding, and then I put on 2 coats of either light buttermilk or warm white, and then you are ready to go. And I forgot my paper. Oh my gosh. I'll tell you, some days. You ever had one of those days? I'm having one of those days. So, one of my favorite things. See, me and I have boxes of everything. I do like my boxes of stuff. So there's 101 different products out there for this type of thing. And if you can't get your hands on this tissue paper, the one I'm using is this one. This one is from Tim Holtz Ideology. Ideology. I love this stuff. I bought several rolls of it once upon a time because I just thought it was the best thing since cookies. And I'm particularly fond of this one for this reason. I love that and am moderately obsessed with those cancellation stamps.
Why am I seeing stuff about Robin Storm breaking a rib?
Did she actually break it? She took a fall this week.
Oh, did she?
Yeah, in the bathroom and landed on the edge of the tub.
Oy!
So,
broken or cracked or bruised?
So, she actually was in so much pain that she went for x-rays today. So, Hopefully she's okay. I know exactly how that feels because I've broken a couple.
Yep.
Ask Veronica Tui about that sometime.
Broken ribs aren't fun.
No, they are not. You cannot cough, sneeze, laugh, or breathe without pain. Yeah, that's not pleasant. So this is the paper that I've chosen to work with. Now, if you have the pattern for this, you're going to notice that there is a page with something similar to this in it that you can print off and just decoupage onto your surface. I know that this paper is difficult to find. I have oodles of it, so I use it, but I do know that it is difficult to find. However, you are not obligated to use this. There's hundreds of different types of this stuff out there, like this one. This is also a Tim Holtz ideology. This one is available in a lot of different places. I like this one too. Cancellation stamp. Hello. And although it does not fit, it can easily be made to fit. This one has the butterflies on it. I kind of like that. So it can be anything. It doesn't have to be exactly what I used. You could use your grandmother's recipe for your favorite cookies, blow it up, scan it into your computer, print it out on paper, and then decoupage it onto the surface and use that. It's all we're looking for is, some script, a little bit of pattern. Push comes to shove, you could just simply stamp the background. You don't necessarily have to use the paper, but this is just such a fun technique that I figured, let's do it. So now I can't decide which one I want to do. So I'm thinking I'm going to do this one. We're going to use the butterflies. See, this is another reason I like this one, because I like that, whatever that is. Cicada, that's the word.
Cicada. Noisy buggers.
They are noisy, but they're just such a cool looking bug. I like bugs. I don't like spiders, but I like bugs. And the fun part is that you can arrange this any way you want to.
I like the death's head moth.
I do too. I have a couple of those stamps, actually.
Oh, do you?
Yeah. I have a little bit of an obsession with bugs.
And skulls.
And skulls.
What a combination.
I know. and I'm wearing...
Are you wearing a zombie bunny?
I'm wearing my zombie bunny today. I found a zombie bunny. A piece of, like a gorgeous little sterling silver zombie bunny. So I wear that. I love it.
It's a zombie wearing a bunny onesie.
A bunny suit. Yeah, a bunny onesie. So I've got that on. And let me show you just how easy it is to customize this. So I can choose another length of paper that's close, and it doesn't matter if it matches perfectly. By the time we're done, you're never going to see all of those little bubbles and things. So I'm going to pull this over as far as I can. I just don't want to lose this. I want to keep that cancellation stamp. I'll probably end up burying it under something anyway, but it doesn't matter. So I'm going to...
I'm with Cindy on this one. I like bugs on paper.
I like bugs. I don't want them crawling all over me or around my house.
I think that's what she's getting at.
Yeah. But I have a minor obsession with them. I just think they're fascinating. I see this. I follow this woman on TikTok that has...
Centipedes and millipedes. No.
Yeah.
Keep them away from me. That is too many legs for a living creature.
I have a really funny story about a millipede.
Centipedes and millipedes.
I have a really funny... I was in Kentucky filming for DecoArt, and we were doing a whole series of videos, and we had this room literally draped to diffuse light, and the girl that was working with me was operating the cameras. She must have seen my face, because where the fabric in the room overlapped, one of these huge centipedes came out from behind the sheeting that was on the walls. It came out and it was walking right behind her. And I mean, we get big bugs here, but they get bigger bugs. The further south you go, the bigger the bugs get.
Yeah.
And this thing was creepy. And she must have seen my face, because she stopped what she was doing, turned around, and it was literally 2 feet from her face. And then she proceeded to beat it to death. It was just... the display of violence unleashed on that bug was quite impressive. I couldn't stop laughing.
It needed to die.
It needed to die, apparently, and quickly. But I thought it was very funny. She wasn't amused, but I thought it was hilarious.
You see that video going around of the tarantula that's growling?
No,
Yeah.
I don't need to see that.
That one's,
No.
it shouldn't make that noise.
There's a video of a woman that just shows her cleavage in the video, and a spider comes out of it, like a tarantula comes out of it. Hell no. Nope, nope, nope. Not me, not ever. Oh, see, I didn't quite have enough, but that's okay. Just, waste not, want not. Well, let's do it this way. So I'm going to piecemeal this one because I can. And it doesn't really matter if it overlaps a little bit. And then I'm just going to, put a little piece in there. It'll work. I'll make it work. Or I'll just say to heck with it and use a big sheet. Because I just don't have patience for that today. So, here we go. I want to keep all of my cancellation stamps in there. I love this. Apparently, I'm so scattered today. So I'm just going to trim this a little bit so it's a little more manageable. Thankfully, there's all kinds of lines in this paper. And then I keep all those little bits because you never know when they'll come in handy. And I kind of like this hand here. I think that's kind of neat. So, look at that. All right. So I'm just going to trim off the excess here so that I'm not fighting against all of this because that's a lot. There. More paper for my goodies. So we're going to use a little bit of matte medium to adhere this. Maybe, if I can find my matte medium. There it is. Matte medium. I love this stuff. This is Decoupage Media matte medium. And I'm going to use my favorite fugly brush. And we're going to put a nice generous coat of matte medium on our surface. Now, generous means that I get the whole surface covered with a good amount. But you don't want so much on it that it's just, goopy, but get a generous amount on there. Right to the edges. You want to make sure you have matte medium everywhere. And then you're going to use your brush. Oh, dear God. It's the stuff nightmares are made of. He's showing me video of a growling tarantula. Wrong. So wrong.
That's a tarantula. Growling.
No, that's a tarantula telling you to go away. And I would oblige him very quickly.
Sounds like a cat.
Yeah, sounds like soot.
It sounds like an angry cat.
So I have pretty generous coat of matte medium on there, and I have my little spray bottle. I'm going to take my little spray bottle and I'm going to mist both sides of this paper. Just a mist. You don't want it saturated. But if you put a light mist of this on there, it's going to make the whole process a lot easier. So.
What channels are you watching?
He's on everything. So.
No, this was directed to you.
Me?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What channels are you watching?
Right now?
Yeah.
I'm not watching any.
Who do you follow?
Oh. On.
I'm guessing that's the question.
Oh, everything. I follow a lot of wildlife. A lot of groups, like pages that are dedicated to wildlife. I don't really go out for insects, although there is a lady who has spiders. that just fascinate me because she does really close ups of these tiny little unique, and I find that one fascinating because they're just so cool, but they're itty bitty.
The little spiders.
Yeah, the only problem is she lets them climb on her. That's just nope. So once I have that laid into that matte medium, I'm just going to use this little mini brayer to make sure that it's in there really good. That little brayer helps even out the amount of matte medium that's under there. So if you've got any areas where it's a little thick, it's going to ooze out a little, and that's okay. But this helps eliminate any of those ripples, those bubbles, the bumps. And the same with this little mist of water. When you just lightly mist the paper, it stretches the paper. So that once you have it in that matte medium, it stretches out, and then when you dry it, it shrinks back to its original form, but it stays on there nice and tight.
I got 2 quick questions.
Shoot.
1, where'd you get the paper?
Yep.
2, can you use Mod Podge for this?
Yes. Mod Podge will work, so will Decoupage medium. It will absolutely work for this. The only thing I will recommend is to get one that dries to a matte sheen. If it's got a shiny sheen, you're going to have a heck of a time getting your line drawings on. But a matte sheen, but yes, if you've got Mod Podge at home, go for it. It will work just fine. So I'm just going to dry this real quick. Just so that it's not, because it does come up through the paper a little bit. So I just don't want it to. There we go. So I'm going to use one of these. This is an emery board. Yes, the type that you use for doing your nails. If you can't find one of these or don't have one, you can use one of these, which is a sanding disc. These are available on Amazon. And the other thing you can use is just a traditional sanding sponge. But the reason I go to these is because they're a little more rigid, and it makes it so much easier to do this. So I'm going to take my sanding sponge and sand down and away along those edges. And look at that. Lets you take the excess paper off really easily. Just like that. Ta-da! Oh yeah, no ta-da. That one didn't ta-da. Why didn't it ta-da? There it is. Okay. Didn't sand hard enough. There we go. Ta-da!
Oh yeah, you didn't answer where you got the paper.
Oh, I'm sorry. The paper. Good heavens. This one that I'm using right now, you can usually find some on scrapbook.com. The other place that I found it is on Amazon. This one is not that easy to find, unfortunately. But any one of these papers, this entomology, you can find on Amazon and on scrapbook.com. You can also find it on Stampers Anonymous is the name of the, Renee's giving me one of those looks. Stampers Anonymous is a great website if you're looking for mixed media or scrapbook and paper crafting supplies. It's one of my favorite places to go because Stampers Anonymous carries a lot of Tim Holtz product, and I absolutely love his decoupage paper and his mixed media paper or collage papers. I have a lot of them. I will admit it. But they can be found on Amazon quite easily, and they can be found on scrapbook.com and stampersanonymous.com. And Joggles, if you're familiar with Joggles. Joggles is another good site for that.
How do you finish the sides of the surface?
The sides of the surface, I generally paint them beforehand, and in this case, I just put a couple of coats of warm white on there.
And that's it.
And that's it. Then I just treat the sides and edges of it the same way I treat the painted piece itself. So spattered, it gets a little bit of ink, a little bit of stamping. You can have some fun with it.
You could just search Tim Holtz on Amazon.
Yep. You can find all sorts of Tim Holtz collage paper. It's the best way.
Yeah.
Yep. So I have a lot of these. I love his papers. And I tend to gravitate towards the ones that have bugs and cancellation stamps. Don't ask me why, I have no idea.
Joanne is wondering, after using matte medium, what type of pen do you use for line work?
For line work, you can use your... Why is it I can never get this one? I have to find one before I can remember what they're called.
Uniball Signo?
No. That one I remember. The other one.
Identapen?
Identapen. Wow, I have a mental block when it comes to that pen. Identapen works just fine on it. The Uniball Signo works just fine on it. Any one of my gel pens works just fine on it. One of the reasons I like the matte medium is that it dries to a matte finish. So now that we have this all trimmed, and it looks pretty good, I must say, I'm going to take some more matte medium, and we're going to put a coat over everything. And this is a generous coat, and we're going to pay particular attention to the edges, because we want those edges and corners to stay put.
What is Linda saying?
Whom?
Oh, we got the Linda.
The Linda.
Be sure to let everybody know you'll be on Audrey Live next week.
Yes. I'm on Audrey Live Thursday. I don't have the thing in front of me, so I can't remember what time it is, but on Thursday, the 23rd, it is posted on my homepage, or on my Facebook page. But, yep, going to be doing a little bit of a demo on there. It's always fun to spend a little time with Audrey, so we're going to be doing a little bit of demo. I've got some classes, some Zoom classes coming up for Art Waves, and so we're going to be promoting that as well. And we still have seats in those classes, so if you're looking forward to that, or looking for something fun to do, come and join us. So... I've got one coat over top of this. So.
1 p.m. Eastern.
Oh, okay.
It's
2 p.m. my time, so yeah. 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Thursday, March 23rd. On Audrey Live. All you have to do is search Audrey Live on Facebook.
On the Facebook?
On the Facebook. I'll have the event posted on my Facebook page, so all you have to do is just let us know, and it'll give you a notification when it's going live. And if you do happen to pop over to Audrey Live, hit the follow button.
Yeah. Show some love.
Show us some love. I've known Audrey for over 20 years. Hard to imagine. I still can't believe that. But the very first class I ever taught at a convention, I taught at one of Audrey's conventions. That was over 20 years ago.
Oh, wow. Carolyn Roach says, "Hey, Miss Tracy."
Hey, Miss Carolyn. There we go. So there. My surface is nice and dry. I love that the matte medium makes things so nice and smooth. That little bit of water when you spray your paper makes a big difference in how that paper lays down. So even if you're working with copy paper or some tissue paper or what have you, just giving the paper a little bit of moisture, just a little, you don't want to saturate it, just a little, makes a huge difference on how smooth and how even that decoupage comes out. So little tip, all you need is a little spray bottle, fill it up with just everyday water to mist your paper with. It makes a world of difference. So we have our surface all ready to go. I like this already. I think it's fun. So we're going to, and I'm going to thin out a little bit of warm white. Now, somebody asked me the other day, when you say thin, how thin? Thin. like soupy thin, like that. It's messy, sloppy. And I'm going to brush a coat of that warm white over top. Now I brush it on and I put it on in one direction. I just like the overall effect at the end. So that thinned warm white over top of everything. There we go. Now, I was watching a video the other day. The gentleman that had done the video was using a technique used by taggers, the people that paint and put graffiti on your walls and whatnot. He does his artwork. He does tagging and graffiti type work, but he does most of his on large canvases. So his is commissioned artwork, and he started out in one place and ended up in another, and his work is incredible. And one of the things that he was doing was a technique similar to this. Essentially what he's doing is starting out with a base element, burying it, knocking it back, so subduing it a little bit. So he would do this and then subdue it, and then he would repeat this pattern, outwards a bit, leaving a small portion in the center, still showing the original. And then he would repeat this and then do this again, and then repeat that and do it again. And what he ended up with was an effect that was almost tunnel-like, that you could look down into the image. It was a remarkable technique, all done on a two-dimensional surface. It was just brilliant. So, and we're doing something similar to that. We're just creating the pattern and setting it back a bit. And I'm going to just brush this out a little to smooth it. And I'm going to dry this. And then we're going to set it back one more time. I like this effect. I've done it on a number of pieces. And it works particularly well when you've got something with really brilliant color. And lots of vibrant color. It works particularly well because that in itself sets this background back yet again. So that's one of the reasons that I like this, is that you still get all of the impact, all of that busyness, all of that interest, all of that visual texture, but it's somehow a little less in your face because we've toned it down a little bit. So you still have all of that stuff going on, but it isn't right in your face, which I just love. It's a great background for a lot of different things. And it's even more effective when you repeat some of those elements with a darker value, like what we're going to do here. So I think we're dry. So I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, you know what? I want to go a little bit lighter. I want to knock it back just a little bit more. So I'm going to do one more coat. I'm going to heavily thin this white. I don't want it too opaque, but I want to soften the effect a bit. So yeah, I've got a fair amount of white. There we go. So just one more coat, and then I think this will do it. I just love this effect. I think it's very soft. It's subtle. There we go. So I'll dry this, and then we're going to age the edges of this piece a little bit. I'm going to subdue this and give it a little bit of age. Yeah, I like this. It's a little subtler, a little more subtle, definitely softer. And I think those pretty flowers are going to really pop off of that. So, there we go. Now, the point behind putting that matte medium onto the sides and paying particular attention to edges and corners, this paper is very thin, but it can be lifted if you're not careful. So it's a good idea to seal in those corners and edges so that everything stays where you put it. So this is almost dry. I like it. So there. So our next color for this piece is asphaltum. Surprise. I know. Asphaltum. It's my favorite color for this kind of thing. So I'm going to use a 1/2 inch angled shader. I'm using a Dynasty Faux Squirrel for this one. And a little bit of asphaltum. Don't need a ton. I'm going to blend it. I don't want it full strength either because we're working over top of white. So I'm going to put a little bit of a shadow on the edges and the corners. You float it on. Doesn't have to be neat and tidy. Grab a little bit of juice on here. We just want a little shadow along the edges just to keep it from looking a little too new. Good heavens. And I like the aged edges. Just gives things that I've been hanging around for a while look. So loose flow, don't worry about making it absolutely perfect. And we don't want it so strong that this looks like a harsh outline out there. We don't want that. There we go. So it's just to give those outside edges a little bit of age. You don't need to have a ton of it on there. And then we have our surface ready. So all you have to do is trace and transfer your line drawing on from this point. I'm going to dry this real quick. I have mine already prepped, so we can jump right into the fun stuff. And there you have a background that is all ready for whatever you decide to put on it. I like the irregularities in this edge. It doesn't look so meticulously structured, and so it tends to look a bit more authentic when things are imperfect, because nothing ever ages perfectly at the edges, not even us. So he thinks I'm funny. So I'm going to clear a spot here because I have managed to get stuff everywhere. I have paper everywhere. And I did manage to find, somebody had asked me about this butterfly stamp. This one is by Stampendous, which means that they're very difficult to get right now. However, Miss Sandy McTeer has them available on her website. So if you are looking for that butterfly stamp in particular, go and check out Sandy's website. She'll have a set of those on there. So we're going to be painting this one. This one is super simple. And I like the butterfly. However, I found these the other day. Very pretty. These ones were from Michael's. These are a Reflections stamp. This is available at your local Michael's store. So any one of these butterflies will work perfectly for this too. And look, I like that they've got little tiny ones. I like those. So you can have some fun with that. So we'll probably put that to good use. And I already have my line drawing in place.
And some green laid down.
And I put a little bit of green in already, so. Now I'm going to be using one of Sandy's butterflies for this one because I like them. And this one's a little bigger. I kind of like that too. We can have a little bit of fun with that. And I'm going to use this reflection stamp. I'm not sure which butterfly I'm going to use, but we'll decide that when the time comes. So we're going to start with these leaves. Now, all I've done for this is use a little bit of sour apple, which is this beautiful foliage color. I just love this green, and it worked so well for this. Now, the colors in this piece are heavily thinned. I'm thinning them out with either water or with Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze, either one. They're heavily thinned. We're not looking for fully opaque base coats because it doesn't matter. We want all of that design element that you see back there, we want that to show through a little bit. So we're using heavily thinned versions of these colors. So I have thinned out and applied sour apple to all of the leaves and the stems of this piece. And I did that with a big old round brush. In this particular case, it's a number 6 water lily round. That's the brush that I'm using today for this. And I've got my green in place, so we're going to start with the base color for these crocus, and the color that I used, if I'm not mistaken, is petal pink. Petal pink. Where is it? I'm batting 1,000 today. Jeepers. There it is. So, petal pink. That is the color that we are using for our flowers. So I'm going to put my palette here so you can see what I'm doing with this. A little bit of petal pink. Now I'm using a little bit of Jo Sonja's Fast Dry Glaze for this, but water works just as well. So get a whole bunch of water or glaze in your brush, and you're going to thin this color out. Hence the title, watered color. Lots and lots of water or glaze. There we go. You want to make this color a little transparent. And because we are looking to keep the color darkest in the lowest areas, that's where you're going to start. And every one of these petals gets the same color. It's heavily thinned. It is going to look like watercolor. Now, if you're more comfortable using a filbert for this, by all means, go ahead. Use whatever works for you. I just happen to like this round. And it holds a lot of that mixture, that thinned paint. So I can just slop it in. And if you happen to go outside the lines, oh well, not a big deal. Neatness doesn't really count for this. We're more concerned with just getting the color in place. And because we want this color transparent, you don't really have to worry about whether or not it's, perfectly separated. You don't have to retrace anything. You don't even have to remove these graphite lines because we're going to draw right over them anyway, so it doesn't matter. They are going to become part of the design. And if you happen to go outside the lines, whatever. Doesn't hurt it. Truly does not. And this pink is so pretty. Easy peasy. So as you're painting, if you discover that, oh my goodness, one of my flowers is pinker than the other, oh well, don't worry about it. It does not matter.
It is quite quiet in the chat today.
It is. They're a very quiet bunch today. And I just realized I missed one of the leaves.
The pink is called petal pink.
Yep, petal pink. It's a pretty pink. So it is heavily thinned. So it looks very wish-washy. It doesn't look even. That's okay. So I missed a leaf. Actually, I missed the point of a leaf. So I'm going to use a little bit of this sour apple. We're doing the same thing that I did for the flowers. Just heavily thin it.
How does the water lily brushes compare to the black gold brushes?
These are softer than the black gold. These are a watercolor brush, so they are a little softer. That softness takes a little bit of getting used to, especially if you're used to a brush that is very responsive like the black gold is. It has, black gold has a really nice snap and a nice return to the brush, to the bristle. So, a little bit of pressure, the minute you release the pressure, it goes right back to its original shape. These are a little softer, so it takes them a little bit longer, but I really am enjoying these brushes quite a bit. I'm enjoying the fact that they are quite heavily bodied. They hold a lot of paint and a lot of liquid. Pretty, pretty, and so fun. Missed a spot. There we go. So I'm going to dry this real quick. I love the fact that these are so forgiving. Super easy. So we have leaves, we have stems, and that's 2 colors. Super easy. Now we're going to use a little bit of diox, and we're going to shade some of these center veins with a little bit of lavender. So our next color is that lavender. I got a new bottle of lavender. Lavender. You can tell it's a new bottle. It's still got the gooey stuff at the top. I haven't given it a really good shake. So we're going to use lavender to do that first layer of shading. And again, we're going to thin that color heavily, just like we did with the warm white, like we did with that petal pink and with the sour apple. So I'm going to use a little bit of lavender. Once I get I loathe these things.
And of course, Sue Potts.
Aw.
Another $20 from Sue Potts.
Thank you so much, Sue.
For the glitter and the peppers.
It's so cute. The other day, I got an anonymous donation.
An anonymous donation?
Yes, I did. Somebody sent $25, so I dropped that into the account for the puppers. Oh. So there's actually over 500 in there now for the puppers, even though it says $4.75. So
a third of the way there.
Or a third of the way there. So we're going to use a little bit of that lavender. I love this color. It's one of my favorite purples. So we're going to thin this out quite dramatically, because lavender is fairly opaque. It actually covers quite well. So I'm going to thin this quite a lot. Now I'm using a round for this. You can use an angle if you want, if you really want, a bit more control. Feel free. I'm going to use the tip of my round brush. Oh my goodness. I have a little bit of color on there. There we go. So I'm just going to use the tip of that round. And I'm going to thin out my paint a little bit more. It's a little on the strong side. And then I'm going to use a wet brush just to blend it a little bit. So a little of that purple, like so. It was a little strong. There we go.
Linda.
What now?
Linda said Franco donated $20.
Aw. I'm watching that.
She doesn't.
That glitter fund is just going to be rocking. I love it. I can't wait, actually. Because when I use glitter in the studio, I have to listen to him grumble about it. So I'm going to enjoy it immensely. So you can see this is very loose. We're not talking highly controlled. These colors are going on there very loose. Have a little fun with it. Don't worry.
She thins her paint with the...
Either water or Joe Sonia's. Either one.
You can use both at the same time.
You can use both at the same time. Yeah. So, super simple. I'm just using that thinned color. Don't overthink it. Just put it in there. The whole idea is to make this look like it's watercolor. So, look at that. So when you have color just on the tip of the brush, you can use the belly of the brush to walk that color out a little bit. I am by no stretch of the imagination a watercolor artist. I know a few that are extraordinarily talented. I am not one of them. It's not a medium that I have ever been comfortable with. Not one, certainly, that I have ever developed any sort of skill with. But it's also one that I greatly admire. And one of my favorite watercolor artists is Shelley Pryor. She's a Canadian watercolor artist. She is brilliant.
Oh, this is a first.
What?
I have to scroll for the donations right now.
You have to scroll?
Yeah.
Why? What do you mean?
There's that many of them.
Okay.
So we just had the $20 from Linda.
Cool.
Another 10 from Teresa Casper.
Terry, thank you.
Here's another 10 to get it over 500.
Awesome.
And Don Lavelle with $20.
Nice.
Glitter Fund and Puppers.
And puppers.
Oh, and Robin Storm is celebrating 21 months as a member.
Awesome.
21 months.
Yeah. Well, Robin's been with us from the very beginning.
We're getting closer to that 2-year anniversary.
We are. Yep.
Is one better than the other, water or the medium?
I'm a big fan of the medium, primarily because I use it for so many different things, and I'm just used to using it. But honestly, water will do the same thing for you. It's just thinning the color and letting it. The one thing I do find, though, about using the medium is that the vibrancy of the color remains. It doesn't seem to be as compromised as it is with the water. So I think if there's one really significant benefit to using the medium, it's that the color stays nice and vibrant. So you can see that our flowers are really starting to take shape. We're not using a ton of paint. And again, most of the color is on the tip of the brush, and then I can use the heel. See? If I lay the brush right on its side, just jiggle. Look at that. I can almost float with it.
Where was it? I had something there. Would watercolor paint behave differently on the decoupage wooden surface?
Yes, it would. Watercolor paints are designed to be absorbed by the surface, and this is not going to absorb. It's sealed. So it'll sit there, but it's not going to quite do the same thing. Nope. Now, having said that...
would it puddle?
Yeah, it might.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, even this puddles to a certain degree. There we go. So this is just a fun, really loose technique. So we have our lavender in place. And now I'm going to switch over to Diox Purple. Now, there's two different Diox Purples. This is Dioxazine Purple in the Americanas. gorgeous, rich, lovely purple.
It's almost blue on camera.
Yeah, well, it is a very blue purple. It's very dark. I wanted to show you something real quick. Okay. I have to get it. Doesn't want to come out of the bottle. So I've got a little puddle of Diox on my palette. And then there is this one. This is Diox purple in the media fluid acrylics. I just wanted to show you something really quick. This is the dioxazine in the Americanas, and this is Diox in the fluid acrylics.
And Cheryl with a $10 donation.
Thank you.
And she says, for the Pupper Fund and the Glitter Fund.
Well, we appreciate it. The puppers are really going to appreciate it.
Yes, they are.
So this is the Americana Diox, and this is the media fluid acrylic Diox. I wanted to show you the difference. So here is that Diox, the Americana. It's a beautiful purple. Absolutely beautiful purple. So I'm going to rinse out my brush. Now, that's just with a little bit of medium. And this is, the difference is uncanny. The fluid acrylic is extremely saturated and very transparent. It's a very rich purple. The Americana one has a little bit more white in it. It actually has a little bit flattening agents and whatnot. It makes it a little bit more opaque. So if you really want some intense color, try the fluid acrylic in the Diox. This is my favorite. There's a couple of colors in the Americana fluid acrylics that I just absolutely love, and I tend to gravitate towards them, and Diox is one of them. So I'm going to use a small amount of that fluid acrylic Diox. I'm going to do one flower, and then I'm going to do the other one with the Americana one so you can see the difference. So in the deepest areas of our flowers, like where those dark shadows will be, you're going to put a little bit of that Diox. Just like that. So all in those lower areas, because we've got all of that lavender in there. And I do love this Diox. Look at how rich that is. We're going to throw a little bit of that Diox in there. Comme ça. I'm going to rinse my brush real quick. And then we're going to walk some of that color out till it just overlaps that lavender a little. And that's going to give us that shadow. But look how intense that color is. Just how wonderfully vibrant it is. Love it. So there we have a nice shaded area. If it needs a little more, go back in. It's not going to hurt. If you ever feel like the colors aren't quite dark enough, not quite deep enough, go ahead, put a little more in. Won't hurt. So that's the fluid acrylic. I'm going to come down to this one, and we're going to use the Decoupage Americana. So we have a nice little dark area here. I like those little dark areas in the throat of the flower. Ooh. And in those folds, turnovers, and in the belly.
Is one better than the other, water and the medium?
I find that the water dries a little too quickly. The glaze keeps your paint open a little bit longer. And so you have the ability to manipulate it a little bit longer. I won't say that one is better than the other, because that is entirely a matter of preference. I like to have my paint stay open a little bit longer, so that's one of the reasons that I use the glaze.
Ah, yes. This question again.
Which?
It's the color suggestions for the fluid acrylics.
Okay.
Because they're expensive.
Yep. I don't dispute that at all. They are. They're pricier for a couple of different reasons. One, they have a very high quality acrylic resin in them. That's one. Two, they also use a much higher level of pigmentation. So they are very heavily pigmented. So the colors are very vibrant And they're ultimately very transparent because of that. There's very few fillers, lots of pigment. So if I were to make a recommendation when it comes to color, stick to your primaries. So look for a good blue that you like. Use a red, either a magenta or any one of the reds will work, but stick to your primaries. And then choose a nice yellow. I go with the diarylide yellow because it's very transparent, it's very vivid. And if I need to make it lighter or whatever, I can add white to it. So that is, you stick with your primaries, you're good to go. And then you got to have a nice dark green. So go with the sap green and then a diox purple. If you have a good diox, a good blue, a good red, and a good yellow, you can make almost anything.
So some general primary colors and a couple secondaries.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Honestly, most of the time, if I'm painting with the Decoupage fluid acrylics, I use a grand total of 6 colors.
Do they mix well?
Yes, they mix beautifully.
So you can make any color of the rainbow.
You can make
as long
any
as you got
color out of the
primaries.
rainbow
Yeah,
if you've
there
got
you
the
go.
primaries.
If you got the primaries and a couple secondaries, you can make any color.
Yeah. And they work perfectly well with Americana. So if you want to use white and black, you don't have to use the
Oh, really?
fluid acrylics. They will mix just beautifully with the Americana.
Cool.
So you can literally make any color you want to if you have a basic primary and a couple of secondary colors.
Boom. You don't have to buy the whole line.
No, you do not need to have I have the whole line, and I probably use 8 colors out of the whole thing. That's about it, honestly.
Yeah, I've seen you just change the value of them if you really need to.
If I really need to. I can add a little white or a little bit of black to them to make them whatever I want. So I'm going to just finish this off. I love this diox.
I'm just going to move the camera a bit. It's going to cut off some of the...
I'm going to slide my palette back over because I keep moving out of the shot there.
Yeah.
So I'm using just the tip of my brush to place the color. And then I can come back in, lay my brush on its side and just jiggle.
Oops. I lost the YouTube chat.
Oopsie, that's not good. I do absolutely love this diox.
How would flow medium work?
Flow medium will work. I just find it a little thick. And it'll stay wet a lot longer, which can be okay, but it can also be very frustrating at times. So the glazing medium will also work. Flow medium I just find a little thick and sticky. But that, again, personal preference.
I'm guessing... I'm taking a guess here.
Mm-hmm.
She's wondering if you could do this whole process on a stretched canvas.
Absolutely.
So the process wouldn't change.
Nothing changes.
Yeah. So
The technique doesn't change. Nothing changes. Just the surface.
Yeah. So the decoupage and everything can go straight onto a
Absolutely.
canvas.
Yep.
Just in case you can't get the artist board.
I like, this is, again, a personal preference. I really like working on these art panels. I also understand they're not that easy to find.
Yeah. But yeah, stretch canvas.
Stretch canvas.
Or
I've
canvas
done it.
board.
Canvas boards. You know what? You could do this in your journal easily.
Yeah. You could do it on a piece of paper if you really wanted to.
If you really wanted to. It's one of the fun things about doing this particular technique is that you can do it on almost anything. So I'm just about there.
I tried to put the whole line in the cart and almost passed out.
Yeah, no. I'm of the opinion that you do not need the whole line.
Even though you have the whole line.
I have the whole line. I worked for DecoArt, so...
You get the whole line.
I get the whole line, but...
Well, you did the testing for it.
Yeah.
Before it was even a product.
Yeah.
So,
and I love it. I find them incredibly versatile. I find myself leaning towards them for a great many things.
Mm-hmm.
So, what do you think? This is such a fast and easy technique. You could putz with it. I could sit here and just, fiddle away with this till the cows come home. So, which is going to bring me to another thing, another color.
there's not too many folds in a crocus, is there?
No,
They're a very rigid petaled flower.
much like a tulip, right?
Yeah.
They have tulips as they get a little older, and depending on the type of tulip, the petals will do interesting things. But the crocus, they don't tend to fold. They don't, depending on the type. So this is one of my favorite media colors. This is sap green. And this is plantation pine. What in God's name?
Okay, I gotta switch cameras for that.
No, you don't, because I'm taking the sweater off. I've got paint everywhere.
Show your hand. Show your hand.
Well, you should see what's on my sweater. I managed to put it right into the purple paint. My sweater is covered in purple paint. Lavender.
Your heather gray sweater is
My
now
heather gray sweater is now lavender.
I wanted to switch cameras so badly for it.
Oh my goodness.
Just to show them your reaction to...
Like I've been dipped. Yeah, no. It's a mess. I got to clear off my palette too. Okay, let's try this again. Oh, seriously? Fresh manicure and I managed to get paint everywhere. Of course. So for our leaves, you can use plantation pine. Or you can use this. This is sap green. And to me, these colors are interchangeable because I use them both a lot.
Now, when you really see the difference on camera.
Yeah, one looks almost khaki colored and this one looks black.
Yeah.
And again, let me show you the difference. So plantation pine, I love that it sort of has this earthy, muddy
moss.
A moss color. Yeah, I love this rich green. And then this is sap green. Very similar. This one has that earthy feel as well. This one is extremely dark because it's nothing but pigment.
Yeah, but it's also transparent.
And very transparent, which is one of the reasons I like using it so much. Because this color plays up nicely with other greens. And I use it with almost all of my greens. So even though these two colors, if you were to put sap green and plantation pine side by side, they're not necessarily what you would expect to see. You would probably go with something similar to this, just darker. I tend to gravitate towards plantation pine antique green because of that little brown-ish, earthy-ish undertone. It just works. Oh, God. Bless. Dropping brushes now. It's just bad. So you can use a round brush for this. I'm going to switch over and use, because we're working in some tight little spots, I'm going to work with a 3/8
Is plantation pine Americana?
Yes, it is. Sap green is in the media fluid acrylic, and plantation pine is in the Americanas. Those are my two favorite shading colors for green. So I'm going to pick up a little bit of that plantation pine. And this is my shading color. So I'm just going to separate these leaves.
Ooh. You don't need much of that.
No, you do not. It is, like I said, it's all pigment. There is a ton of pigment in this paint. And again, we're just using a small quantity of this green. You don't need a ton of it, believe you me. It's a strong color. So I'm going to separate those leaves. But I love that it's so earthy. It has this great earthy quality to it. This little bit of brown that just seems to work so nicely.
Janet Mills is worried about your sweater.
Oh, my sweater is a disaster.
So she's wondering, what do you use to get it out?
Oh,
because it will dry by the time you're done alive.
I use some Matzenbuckers.
Can you say that without making it sound like a curse word?
No, I can't. It's a product that actually breaks down the acrylic and latex paint's ability to stick to things.
Cool.
And I buy it at Home Depot. It comes in a big old spray bottle. And you can spray it on your palette, clean your brush basin with it. You can clean almost anything with it. It's awesome.
Oh, she's walking away and still explaining it, so.
I wanted to go into my favorite thing. This is here. Motzenbacher's Lift Off. I will spray a little bit of this on my, wherever the paint is.
And it won't damage the fabric?
Hasn't this far.
No?
That sweater has been washed with this stuff more times than I can count.
See, they're all saying, what was that?
Yeah.
It sounded like a curse word.
Yeah, it's Motzenbacher's Lift Off. You can find this. It comes in a big spray bottle like this. You can actually get it in a little smaller one too. In the paint section at Home Depot. Or at Lowe's or wherever. I use this an awful lot. You get paint in your carpet because you dropped a brush, use this stuff. You got paint on your tabletop and, nothing else seems to be working, spray a little bit of this on it. I clean my stencils with this stuff. I have used it to clean brushes that I thought were unsalvageable. This is just the best thing since cookies. Just test, if you're going to put it on your clothing, just test it in an out of way spot to make sure it doesn't, bleach out the color. But I have yet to find something I couldn't clean paint off of. It's awesome stuff. And a little bit goes a long way.
Motzenbacher Lift Off.
Yep.
Yep.
And if I'm not mistaken, you can get it on Amazon too. It's great stuff. So yes, although I know I've got paint all over my sweater, I'm not worried about it. Because I have Motzenbacher's.
Lavender paint on gray sweater. Design opportunity, question mark?
Oh, not in this case.
No.
That sweater has seen more paint than most of the canvases I've painted, so.
Is this pattern available?
Yes, it is. It's on the website.
Hey.
Yep.
TracyMonroe.net.
And this is just fun. This one is just such an easy one to do. It's very forgiving. And as I said, don't overthink any of it. Don't bother yourself too much. Oh, that float's not perfect. So what? It doesn't matter. You just want to make sure that all of these leaves and stems are separated a little bit. And again, it has to have that watercolory look, so don't putz with those floats too much. It doesn't have to be neat. It doesn't have to be perfect by any stretch of the imagination. So, just so that you get all those leaves and everything separated. That's it.
Sushetta Campbell says, hello, Tracy.
Hello, Sushetta.
I think that's how it said.
Uh-huh.
You know who that is?
I do know who that is. She's one of our members. Lovely lady. Has fit into the group very, very nicely.
The cult.
The cult. Huh. We have some really great people in our group. I shouldn't say some. They're all really awesome. And they've been posting their challenge pieces. I'm so excited. Some of them are just beautiful.
I mean, in all honesty, it is a cult.
I don't think so. I do not pour... Oh, we only pour wine, no Kool-Aid. So there we go. So I got all my shading into place. And again, loose. Nothing too crisp, nothing too clean, nothing too... You don't want any of those harsh, solid, perfect floats. You don't need them. Super simple. So we're going to take a little bit of warm white. Just a little bit. I want to put a little bit of a highlight on our leaves. Just a little. And I also want to put a little bit of a highlight on our flowers. So I'm going to put a little bit of our petal pink and a little bit of warm white and a whole bunch of glaze. So a little bit of warm white. Ta-da!
Nobody's floats are perfect.
No. Who needs a perfect float? Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided.
At all costs.
Yep. So I'm going to take a little bit of that warm white with some of that petal pink. And I'm just going to put a little brush bit in at the tips of those petals like so. It's just to lighten them a little. Just at the tip. All I did was take a little bit of warm white, little touch pink, thin it out with a little bit of water, and that's all we're doing. Just a little highlight. It just barely changes the value just at the tip of the petals. Not looking for perfection. Comme ça. There we go. Easy peasy. Just softens them. And then we're going to do the same thing to the leaves. A little bit of warm white, lots of water, a little bit of that wonderful green, that sour apple, just to make a very light value of green. And just opposite that shading, and then out at the tip of the leaf, I'm going to put a little bit of that. Just a little. Just a light little stroke of that lighter green in a few places. Don't overthink it. That little bit of changing that value, it just softens things, gives you a subtle highlight, but it just keeps things nice and soft and watery looking. Easy. There we go. So we've got leaves and petals all done. So I'm going to dry this real quick. And then we're going to have a little bit of fun with a pen. I like this part because I think it does nice things for this. So I'm going to grab my 0.38 black gel pen. We're going to start in the center of the flower. And just down in here, I'm going to do that. Just a few little sketchy straight lines just in the center, kind of form a little V like that. Nothing fancy. And then we're going to grab, I'm going to get a little bit of, I think it's sunset gold. You just need a yellow. I think I used sunset gold or saffron yellow. I'm going to use sunset because it's handy. Oops. And I'm going to use my rigger. And then we have a little bit of orange flame. I got a new bottle of orange flame. There was nothing left in my other bottle. I love orange flame. I use it for so many things. So I've got orange flame, a little bit of sunset gold or saffron yellow. Either one will work just fine. And then I have a little bit of warm white. And I'm going to use the tip of my brush. And I'm going to do this first with some sunset gold. Just a few little dip dots like so. Don't overthink it, just a few. And same thing on this one over here. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the dirty brush. I'm not cleaning my brush. A little bit of warm white, just a few little dip dots. You don't want to bury all of this, but we need to put a little texture in there. And then with the dirty brush, pick up a little bit of that orange flame. And you're just going to go in and fill in a few little spots like so, just for the texture. Easy peasy. Now I'm going to dry this because at the rate I'm going today, I will probably lay my hand, elbow, arm, or sweater into the wet paint because I seem to be gifted for that today. So, now I'm going to set this aside for a few minutes. I think it's quite pretty. I'm going to grab my butterfly. Now I need a little bit of lamp black. A little bit of lamp black. Yep. Thank you much. A little bit of lamp black. I had to get a new bottle of lamp black. And I only buy it in these big bottles because otherwise I run out. And I have some lavender, and I have some petal pink, and I have some Diox purple. So I'm going to paint my butterfly to match my flower. So I'm going to grab some warm white.
Yep, that gel pen doesn't smear.
Nope. Renee and I were testing gel pens yesterday because I got some more samples in. And yeah, we discovered that, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Just stick with the one I got. I'm always looking for, either a better price or you never know what you're going to find. So these just looked like a great deal and they looked like a pretty good pen. So I got a few just to try them out and not so much.
Yes, the butterfly is from Sandy.
Yep. You can use any butterfly, quite honestly. I'm using this one from Sandy because she was so sweet to send me some. I didn't talk about Happy Mail today.
Did you get any Happy Mail?
I did get Happy Mail today.
Oh.
Yeah. I got lettering ink this week.
Oh, yeah. That came with the pens.
Yep. So I was more excited about the ink than I was about the pens. So I put a little bit of white on there just because I find that the color doesn't pop as much as I would like it to. And I've thinned out a little bit of this petal pink with a little bit of glaze. And I'm going to go over the white. And I wanted this pink to really pop. So a little bit of glaze in there. It doesn't have to be perfect. The one thing I discovered the other day is if you don't hold this butterfly down, it flies away when you turn on the heat it tool. There we go. So I've got pink wings. We need lavender. So I'm going to take some of that lavender closest to the body, like so. I'll rinse out my brush. And I'm going to use the same technique that I used for the flowers. I'm just going to use the belly of the brush to draw that color out. Like so. There we go.
Linda from New England? N-E? New England?
Yep. Or Nebraska.
What's that?
Or Nebraska. No, it's probably New England. No, it would be Nebraska.
N-E.
N-E. M or N?
N.
N. It's probably Nebraska.
November Echo.
Yeah, probably Nebraska.
Wouldn't that be
because New
NB?
England isn't a state.
Oh. Do you dilute your lavender paint?
I do. A little bit of glaze medium or a little bit of water. I just keep messing this up, so I'm just going to fix it.
Did you get the beautiful bees from
I
Sandy?
got beautiful bees, too. I get a lot of beautiful things in my Happy Mail this week.
Yeah, we didn't talk about dinner either.
No.
What are we having for dinner?
We are having a roast of pork.
A roast of pork. Yes.
Roast of pork. A haunch pork. I am just like messing this up. Here we go. I had too much color and then too much water, and now I've just completely whoopsied this. There we go. Okay, fine. Have it your way.
Deep fried mac and cheese.
Ooh, yum. Yeah, we had a real gourmet delight last night. We had subs.
Yeah, Subway. Eat. Eat fresh. Kinda.
Yeah, kind of. Okay, I'm going to dry this butterfly before it gets...
Eat kinda fresh.
It was actually very good.
Are you using a number 6 round?
I am.
Leftover corned beef and cabbage for us.
Ooh, see,
Not a fan of corned beef.
I love corned beef and cabbage. Just like I love Jake's dinner.
Sounds like a very Irish dinner.
Yeah. Well, yesterday was St. Patty's Day.
Oh, no. Say it ain't so.
So I'm going to use a little bit of Diox purple right at the edges, like so. I'm going to use the belly of the brush and walk those colors out.
Because you can deep fry mac and cheese. Yes, you can.
Yep.
You can deep fry mac and cheese. You just got to know how. It ends up like a ball.
Yeah.
It's like a soft, it's baseball sized.
Yep.
Deep fried, crispy, crunchy, cheesy, delicious
Thing. So I'm going to use just a little bit of warm white on the edges of the... I was going to see the petals. These are not petals. These are wings. Just a little bit. Now I've thinned it the same way I've thinned everything. So I just want this sort of loose watercolory effect on our butterfly. And I like that sort of, the way the watercolors have this way of sort of melding together. Even when they create a little line or a pocket, it still works. So we have a pretty little watercolor butterfly. I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to give our butterfly a body. Almost done. So I'm going to take a little bit of lamp black. And we're going to paint in the body of our butterfly. And then we're going to add a little highlight on this body as well. Now I'm using just my rigger and a little dot of white on the head. And then a nice fine line of warm white down one side.
Is there a number on your bottle of Matzenbacher Liftoff? I can only find the caulking pen or latex. Nothing says acrylic.
Oh, it still takes acrylic paint off. I've been using this for years. Nope, it's just this one.
Matzenbachers.
It says latex paint, but it actually, I think that what it affects is the binding agent.
Yeah.
And the binding agents are similar regardless of the... Yeah. But it's great stuff. So I have a Flutterby. So I like to add a little bit of detail to my butterfly. I'm going to use dip dots of lamp black.
Poor Patrick. Why should I be ashamed?
Of what?
Yeah, he says, well done, young man. Now I'm looking at recipes for deep fried mac and cheese. You're welcome. Enjoy.
Oh my goodness. So I'm just using a little bit of lamp black and some small little dip dots to add a little detail to the wings. These are not realistic butterflies. You're welcome. So I'm going to dry these. And hopefully this little guy will stay put.
It's not very Weight Watchery.
No, it's no, it is not. You know, all those points, yeah, kiss the whole day's worth in one shot.
Gone.
Yeah. Boom.
I've never been one for weight watching.
No.
I watch how much weight is on my plate.
Yeah. So I've got my little butterflies on there. I'm going to take my rigger and a little bit of warm white. And I'm going to add a highlight to the top of each of those little dots with another little dot. Just because I can, and it's fun. So I've got highlights on. And I'm going to dry this, and then we're going to do some fun things with our gel pen.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Chicken fajitas.
Yum.
I like fajitas.
You like food.
Yeah.
So
I like good.
you
food.
like good food, yes.
Flavorful food.
So I'm using just a squiggly line to detail the edges of these wings like so. And essentially they're just a squiggly line that goes over and over itself a couple of times. Don't overthink it. Don't worry about perfection. It doesn't matter. We're not looking for perfection. This just adds a little shape, a little dimension, and a little bit of interest to the edges of the wings. And as I said, they're squiggly, irregular lines, and it kind of overlaps itself a lot. So we have a butterfly. So, and because we've used exactly the same color palette and the same methodology, the butterfly matches our floral. So we're going to set our little butterfly aside for the time being. And I'm going to put my...
Where is Dot today? She's upstairs. She can't really go far.
Actually, I think Dad just took her out.
No, did he?
Yeah.
So she's going outside.
Probably
For a pee.
chasing squirrels.
Going for a potty. An attempt to chase squirrels.
Yep. So I've got my gel pen, and what we just did to the butterfly, we're going to do to these flowers. And again, it is a very light, which is one of the reasons I like this pen, because it is ultra fine. And I can do these multiple outlines around my petals. And if I whoopsie, like I just did, doesn't matter. It's very light, irregular lines. We're not looking for a hard-edged line on this. And again, that line goes back over itself. So it's very light, squiggly. If I were to draw a firm straight line on this flower, it would look very hard-edged, almost cartoony. and it gets the image gets heavy looking. Whereas if I use this very fine squiggly line, it gives the image a softer feel. And yet it still details things, but it's not an in-your-face, hard-edged look. And it doesn't matter if it's perfectly on the line or not. It just doesn't matter. And this is a very mixed media type look anyway, so these lines, they work for this. And we're going to do some fun stuff with we still have quite a bit of fun stuff to do to this. I like these irregular lines. I do this quite often because I just like the way it finishes things. And these black Uniball pens and the Feng Tuan ones that I use too, both of these actually work really, really well for this. The reason I chose these has less to do with the pen and everything to do with this. Stainless steel ball on both ends. Ultra fine, it's a 0.38, and both pens are filled with Sakura ink, which is a good quality gel ink. It's ultra black, and that 0.38 is super fine, so it's a nice pen to work with. Great for doing details, especially fun stuff like this. Easy peasy. So I'm just going to quickly finish this up and then we will finish off. So our giveaways today are, we have a lovely envelope full of stencils, courtesy of Country Bear Wood. Great people over there at Country Bear. Mario and Ghislaine, they're awesome, very generous. They sent me out a pile of stuff for good giveaways, which I thought was very sweet. I didn't ask them for them, but they were so kind to send them out. So we have some really nice giveaways with 3 of them. So there's some beautiful plaid stencils in there. We have some DecoArt stencils, courtesy of DecoArt. We have stencils from TracyMorrow.net, obviously. And then we also have stencils courtesy of M Square, which is Sandy McTeer and myself. So it is a nice little goodie bag full of stencils. So, and I think I'm just about there. So I've got my sketchy lines in place. And I will say this, if you are not a fan of the sketchy line, don't do it. It looks really nice when it's just done with that watercolor technique. So, flutterby. Cancellation stamps. Because you know I gotta have that. And a vintage note stamp. You know I gotta have that too. And I gotta find my Stays On stamp pad. Here we go. So we're going to put another layer onto this, just like we did on the first one. We have all of this stuff going on in the background. And then I chose some stamps that pick up on some of the details that are in the background on this piece. And of course I went with a butterfly because I'm obsessed with bugs. So I'm going to put a butterfly right about here. Hopefully. Nope, it didn't work. The surface actually flexed underneath the stamp. Still didn't work. Oh well. Doesn't matter. That's what pens are for.
A little imperfect.
Yeah. Neatness doesn't count. Perfection is to be avoided. Who cares? I don't. Butterfly. I just connected some lines. And I'm going to use my cancellation stamp because I'm moderately obsessed with cancellation stamps. I do like them. And I like that you can repeat from elements that are within it, which is what we're going to do with this. This is my vintage note stamp. I'm a fan. I like my vintage note stamp. Oh, goodness, what is with me today in stamps?
I think it's your ink pad.
No, it's plenty juicy. How do I know that? Yeah, it's the stamp. I think that one needs to be cleaned. Yep. Yeah, I think my stamp needs to be cleaned. Stamps. There we go. So I've got a little bit of stuff going on in here, not a ton. I think I need to clean my stamps. It's not like they get a ton of care, you know what I mean? Besides, that stays on stamp pad is very juicy. So I'm going to dry this quick because I'm going to handle it. And then I'm going to show you a really fun technique. I like doing the edges. Now, if you don't like this look, you don't have to do this by any means. You can stop at any stage of this, but I'm a fan. So I'm going to take my Stays On stamp pad, my very juicy Stays On stamp pad, and I'm going to rub the edges of my piece. Now, the flatter I put it, the more space I get. The sharper the angle, the less. So if I tilt it towards the surface, I get more coverage. So I kind of like that. And you can smudge a little. I kind of like that too. I like that sort of broken look. Little pressure. You can manipulate it and do all sorts of fun things. And I like that look. I kind of like that. It reminds me of the edges of old films where the edges have that broken appearance. So I'm going to dry this as well. And I'm going to grab my favorite glue. Now, at this point, if you wanted this to be a little heavier looking, you could go in and put another float of asphaltum in right over top of all of that black ink. It'll be fine. You could add more to this if you wanted to, if you're a fan of, I should one of these days show you guys how to do coffee staining on paper. It's a fun way to add embellishments to things. There we go. So that's nice and dry. I'm going to use a little bit of clear. This is Aleene's Tacky Glue. This is my favorite glue. And I'm going to decide where my butterfly is going, first of all. And I'm debating right about there. I'm thinking. Now this little butterfly, although this is pretty by itself, the little butterfly just sort of fills up a little bit of negative space and carries the color on the surface without being too busy. So I kind of like the little butterfly thing. And it's also an understatement because I do like little butterflies. They just fill up space nicely. So I've got a little bit of Aleene's holding my chipboard butterfly down. I have a few new designs coming that involve butterflies. Butterflies, bumblebees, dragonflies. I've got another one coming with dragonflies on it that is fun. So I just press that in place, give it a chance to sit. Because it's chipboard, which means it's paper, it wants to buckle. So I'm going to weight it down a little bit with something a little heavier, just to hold it in place while the glue dries. And that is our watered color crocus. The only thing I have left to do is this. Put my scribble etcher on, and we'll wait for the glue to dry. And while we're waiting, Renee's going to spin the wheel. There we go. I hope you had fun with this. This is just a fun, easy, it's very relaxing way to paint crocus and flowers. So just pick a line drawing and try it out for yourself. You really don't have to have a specific design to do this. So it's a simple technique. Just choose some nice colors to do it with and play. See what you get. If it goes outside the lines, who cares? You're going to put some nice little scribbly lines on the outside edge anyway. Just relax and enjoy the process. These are fun. They're easy to do. And it makes for a pretty spring piece to hang up in your home or to lean up on your office desk. Just adds a little color to what can be a pretty gray season. So I had fun with this, and I'm glad you guys came to paint. Melissa Jones wins one of our packs of stencils. Rather excited about that. This is a first. We've got 3 really nice bags full of stencils, and of course we always toss in a couple other goodies too. So there's some nice happy mail coming your way, Melissa. Just make sure that you go to the homepage on my website, click on the little speech bubble, and send us your shipping information. It makes things a whole lot easier for us to get them shipped out to you. And it'll go out with this week's pile of bunnies. We have a lot of bunnies. Still have a lot of bunnies to ship. Been shipping like crazy the last 4 days, 5 days.
You're spinning again.
You're spinning again.
Cindy Longstaff.
Cindy Longstaff. Some names that I haven't seen before. That's really great. Wow. Cindy Latosky Longstaff. Cindy, go to the homepage on my website at tracymoreau.net. Click on the little speech bubble in the lower right-hand corner of the homepage and send us your shipping information so that we can get this out to you quickly as possible. Any of the giveaways that have not been claimed within 2 weeks, go back into the bin. And then we use them for other things, and we'll try and give them away again some other time. But it doesn't happen all that often, but does from time to time.
People want their prizes.
Yeah, and so they should.
And the last one.
One more. Did it spin? There it goes.
Kathy Hunter.
Oh, right on. Miss Kathy. Kathy, I know I have your shipping information. Excellent. So, ladies, in the next 7 to 14 days, you should get some happy mail. So, I think this actually turned out quite nice. This was fun. A lot of fun to do today. So, next Saturday, we are painting our bunny. We're doing our Spring Flowers bunny. We do have more of the bunnies in stock. Just please be patient. We are shipping them as fast as we possibly can. We have had so many of you request them, so we are trying to get the kits out as quickly as possible. So, and as I said, we've shipped 144 of them this week, and we're still shipping. We still have a bunch to get out that are leaving on Monday. So please bear with us, but we do have more of them in stock. So if you are still looking for a Spring Flowers bunny, we have the kit, we have the surface, we have the pattern, and we have the individual elements. So if you're looking for something, they're all posted on the website, and we still have them in stock. So if you'd like to join us next Saturday, or even to just follow along with the video afterwards, we do have everything that you need for that. Coming up the following week, we're going to be painting one of our cattle tags. We're going to be doing the Border Collie. So that pattern will be available probably later this week. And what else?
Wait, no, 25th? You're doing the bunny.
Yes.
Yes.
The week after that.
So the first?
Yes, April 1st.
April 1st.
And no, it's not a joke.
It's not a joke. We're painting the puppers.
We're painting a puppers, yes. And I think you're going to like it because I really enjoyed designing this one. It's a lot of fun. And Karen did such a beautiful job creating the surface for me. So
And we discussed the border collie look.
yeah.
I wanted Meryl.
Yeah. I don't have enough paint for that.
Yeah. So she's going with
We're going with the
border
traditional
collie.
border collie, yes. So we're going to have some fun with that on April 1st. So please join us. Then pattern, as I said, will be up this week. And I'm ordering the surfaces today because I got a feeling this one's going to be a lot of fun. So we get a bunch of those.
Well, we got to add more to the farm collection.
Yeah, the farmhouse collection will be complete with these 4, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think the farmhouse collection should end with the kitty.
We got a chicken, a kitty, the dog, and the Highland cow.
Yes, Highland cow.
A Highland cow. So
And that will complete the farm.
that will complete the farmhouse series, and then we're going to go into the wildlife series.
Damn.
I'm having way too much fun with this animal thing. It's just a blast. I don't often paint animals, so this one's been fun. So
Yay, my dogs. I've already seen the design for it. I think you guys are going to like it.
yeah. So that's it for us for this week. Thanks so much for joining us. We absolutely love having you guys join us every Saturday, and we appreciate you coming and watching. And thanks so much for your support of the website and for the YouTube channel, because we couldn't do this without that support. So we greatly appreciate it. And don't forget, we have a secret coupon code on the website. All you gotta do is find it. Use that when you're placing an order for whatever you need on the website. And if you can't find it, send us a message. Chances are we probably have some in stock. We just haven't had a chance to update the website. So everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the coming spring, because we can feel it's coming. It's struggling, but it's coming. And in the meantime, we love you and stay safe. Bye.
Pet your dog.
Pet your dog.